I mean, Thursday. I'm not even sure why I said Wednesday just now, but, you know, I'm tired. But not as tired as I was yesterday, so that's good, right? What's everybody up to? I am early today, so I'm gonna actually get a minute to chop it up with y'all. I get to actually talk and not feel like I'm rushed, even though I still will be kind of quick and about it. So as the sun comes up, you'll be able to see me a little bit better. What's everybody up to today? Hey, L. April, good to see you. Oopsie D. Good to see you. All right, as you guys come in, if you wouldn't mind hitting that like button for me. Good morning, Pittsburgh nurse. Up and early, saving people's lives. Juicer, good to see you. Hey, Rosemary. Hey, Elaine. All right, so, for those of you guys that were with us on the Dolly Vision channel last night, we did Delphi. And for those of you guys that are following Delphi, it is a case about two young ladies, 13 and 14. Abby is 13, Libby is 14. And they were found on Valentine's Day. And Richard Allen is being accused of their brutal, vicious unaliving. So, getting my son ready for school. They're dressing up like their favorite book character. He's a duck. Awesome! Hey, Chopper! Awesome! You're watching it now? Cool. Yeah. I don't even know where to start with this case, you guys. It's like it just gets worse and worse the more that I dig into it. Alamo City! Good morning, good morning! And I hate saying morning. It feels like I'm like sad and I've lost somebody, or I'm sad about somebody's passing or something. I know it's a different word and different meanings and whatever else, but it just feels weird to say good morning. Like, good sorrow. You know what I mean? Uh, Another day at work. I guess that fits, kind of. Hey, Chatty Jen. Good to see you. So, we went over Delphi last night, and basically we're still at the same place we were yesterday. We myself and you guys, when I say we, are, is anybody sure that Richard Allen did it? I just can't get past the fact that everything, why are all of these cases lately, it's almost as if the police can't do a proper investigation. Hi, Hindsight, good to see you. You were making some really great points last night. I don't know what to think about the trial. See, okay, my big gripe about the trial was we don't get to see what's going on. We don't get to hear about it really. And everybody that's giving us their notes, it's like they have a different perspective as to what they hear. And so I'm having to listen and take note of every post from every different person that I'm following on the case to try and determine what actually happened. It's like, if you go to a movie theater with 50 people in the movie and then come out and poll the rest of the freaking audience to see what their perspective was on the movie, you're going to get different groups of people that took different parts out of that same movie and will relate to you. Because everybody's not the same, everybody doesn't focus their main points on set things, and therefore it's going to be different. A little bit, at least. So, I don't know how they expect to do proper media this way. My boss is in the background. Sorry about that. I missed most of the live last night. Did anyone talk about the first judge who was given Ari's case walked away? No, we didn't mention the first judge. We did a lot of talking about the people that could have done it. I was just listening to replay when PJ went live. I missed so much. Exactly, and the secrecy is so odd. Like, why? It's... But when I talked about... Good morning, Irish Badass. Good to see you. When I talked about the secrecy with a couple of different people, and I actually talked about it a little bit on my Reddit, and then I talked about it a little bit with people on Twitter, and they say that in Indiana, there's never been a public case to where we were able to televise it. So they've never televised a trial like this publicly. And so the people in Indiana that I was speaking with didn't believe that this would be the first case that they were going to publicly make, into video, which makes sense. And so it's not, but it's like, to me, it's not like just the public viewing of the trial. I don't necessarily expect to be able to watch the case as it's happening from my home on a TV. I at least expect to have like a media source there that could relay the information properly to me. Like whether it's just like a small recap or snippet of the court day, or it's like, it just feels extremely secretive for no reason. But there's still two very young girls that were victims to this. And so after last night's show, I sat there and thought, like, well, because there were a couple people becoming upset in the chat over certain things that we're saying about Libby's sister, Kelsey. And they're going to be a Zav girl that's foiled everything. I know. And that's what I was actually just getting ready to get to, is that I had to kind of check myself because there was somebody in the chat that was upset and I kept seeing it. So I was thinking, well, what, did we say anything that was insensitive? Did we, like, because I always try to be very careful, because I know sometimes the way that I word things and the way that I'm very nonchalant about certain things that should be important, like, just, I don't know how to explain it other than to say that I was an EMT. And so my crude commentary sometimes isn't appropriate to some people because of the fact that they've never been in, a bad situation where somebody's bleeding out and you got to save their life. And the only way to kind of get through it is to make some sort of unappropriate joke. Yeah, so I can't wait for the interrogations to become public. Yeah. That's right, I've heard that. I tried to watch Andrea Burkhart and the Defense Diaries. I listened to Andrea Burkhart. It's difficult to take the temperature of the viewers at times. Yeah, it is. It's difficult to go through cases that are this brutal, honestly, because it's like these poor young girls that are my daughter's age were victimized, and whether it was like some type of humiliation ritual for them to have to like strip and change clothes, and then it's horrific. No matter how you look at it, it's horrific. We have different trains of thought. Yeah, yes, we do. We all think differently. We're all different people, which is okay. But in today's culture, in my opinion, if you have extremely different views than what the majority is, especially with the chat that you're in, it's like, I feel like the people become hostile at the end of the conversation. Like last night, again, and I relay everything onto what I did or participated in on Dolly Vision, and I know that sounds probably silly because I'm my own person, but it was just an experience from last night. There was people in the chat that were very pro Richard Allen did it stance, and I don't doubt that that's a possibility. I don't, because they didn't just arrest a random person that had absolutely no association with this place or the crime scene or the crime. Like, clearly, he self-admitted that he was there. I understand that he self-admitted, and people are saying that it was because his photo was shown as the bridge guy, and so he wanted to step in front of it and identify himself to kind of get into the scene, if that makes sense. Hidden True Crime has been in court every day. Yep, I watch her too. That's one of the shows I watch. Does anyone know if the defense attorney asked Nancy about her going on the true crime channels? Do they know about that? No, I don't know. There's something with the placement of the twigs and branches. Yes, I've read a statement that was provided by Elvis Fields' sister. it had her name and everything down, but I didn't want to name that. I really probably shouldn't even really name him by name, but he was one that was associated with Abby's boyfriend's dad, and they were all into they were in the Mason Lodge together. I believe they were not pagan, Odinists. And this is all alleged. I'm recapping what I've read, and I've read over and over. It's been 7 years, 8 years since this. Not 8 years. What am I saying? 7 years? 2017. Yeah, it's been 7 years since the crime occurred. So it's like, that's another thing. They've got witnesses coming up on stand that are testifying to stuff they saw from 7 years ago. I mean, I know if it was like a horrific event in your life, or if it was something that you yourself was a part of, it would be maybe easier to recount stuff from 7 years ago. But Jesus, it's like, okay. Oh, I was talking about yesterday in the chat, there was a certain 2 or 3 people that were just so, they went as far as to say that, you know, hey, if we didn't believe that Richard Allen did it, we're all just a bunch of dummies. And it's like, dude, I never said I didn't believe it. I just said I don't see the evidence to it. Finding Kelsey's hair on Abby when she was wearing Libby's shirt isn't a red flag to me? Question mark. Abby, when she was found wearing Libby's shirt, isn't... I heard that people were trying to say that Kelsey was involved somehow for that, and that sounds ridiculous, because having long hair myself, you can't really see it. I fidget a lot. And, exactly, Irish. I don't believe there's any humanly possible way that RA's the only one that was involved, because there's 2 girls. Even if he had a gun, how do you make sure one doesn't run? I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. Just cannot understand how or why the phone was left to be found. Did someone look and saw the bridge guy picture was in it, left undestroyed to be found? I mean, if you're committing a heinous murder of 2 girls, I don't think you're thinking clearly to make sure that, hey, I need to make sure I pick up this phone and that phone and take it with me. Things just like the knife sheath in the Idaho 4 case. He left that behind. So it's like, I don't see that as being a huge red flag. With no evidence, how can they say that? There's a new rumor implicating Kelsey. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And that's one of the victim's sisters. I mean, come on. Keep Jules happy and trolls out with the haters. Thank you. But no, it was so frustrating, because that person was calling everybody low intelligent losers or something. And I'm just like, what? Because we don't want to see somebody get railroaded? And I get it. Like, 50% chance for me is that he was involved some sort of way, whether it was some type of ritual in some type of group he was in with their religion or whatever they want to call it. But I don't feel like it's been proven beyond a reasonable doubt that he himself alone walked this crazy bridge, randomly found these girls that just happened to be walking in front of him, decided he was going to essay them, and then he got spooked off them and then ran home, and that was that. I just don't... The placement of the tree branches was weird. They didn't just trip and fall into a pile of debris, and then that's how they were found. Also, I just mentioned Elvis Fields. His sister gave testimony, which seems like it was completely ignored, but basically saying that Abby was a troublemaker. I think she was just mischievous, and I don't know these people. I'm sorry if that offends anybody. She's a victim, but it's like he gave testimony to his sister, and then his sister later, told the authorities that he said that Abby was the mischievous one, and that he put antlers on her, basically, with sticks. And the depiction of the image of the girls, how they were found, shows that there was sticks on her head, like as if she was a reindeer. So, I mean, explain that to me, and then I will listen to your theory. You know what I mean? There's Lady My walking down my street listening to you. What? No way, Chatty, no way. I cannot get into Delphi, but I believe everyone is allowed their opinion. Yeah, no, there's a bunch of people that get into set cases and then don't really feel the vibe of others. It would be different if she had ripped out the hair, but it was just a few strands. Right, I have hair everywhere. I'm sure that if I let my sister borrow my sweatshirt and then the sweatshirt ended up on a different victim, it would have my hair all over it. I don't know necessarily that it would be wrapped around their finger like it was, which I don't believe in coincidences, but at the same time, that part is just something that happened. I don't believe that it was because, like, you know, they were in this strangulation battle and that she just ripped it out of her head at that time. I don't believe that. Something is weird. In one of RA's allegation confession, he mentions being scared by a passing white van. A white van is suspected in the Iowa avails that murdered 2 girls, kidnapped and murdered. See, that's really weird. And you know what? I think that's what they're claiming is some of the evidence that he wouldn't have been privy to. The white van happened to be on surveillance, and it happened to be at 2:30. This white van was coming home, and that man testified yesterday as a neighbor. And basically, how do we know that he didn't do it? He could be bridge guy. You know what I mean? So it's like, but how would he know that piece of information unless he was the one that did it? Which makes me believe that, okay, yeah, he probably was at the scene. He probably had some sort of participation in all of this. But then at the same time, then we've got the psychiatrist who, mind you, was a groupie, basically. Delphi murder case groupie. Like, this psychiatrist was frequently present in every Delphi group on Facebook that you could join. Like, you know, the forums where you can talk about certain topics where we do true crime. There's different groups for every case. Like for Leilani, there was like 5 different groups I was in. For Justice for Quentin Simon. And so it's like she, as this professional doctor, psychiatrist, was commenting in these types of groups, and I saw the comments. I have some of the screenshots. Happy Halloween, everybody. Thank you for reminding me. I'm not really into, I mean, I participate in Halloween. I'm just not really into that much to be like, oh, happy Halloween, guys. Sorry. But she was participating in these groups so much so as to just, she was asking people for what podcast to listen to or what channel was the best. One of the last photos was taken by Libby while they were in Kelsey's back seat wearing winter hats. I think the antlers are mimicking the ears on Abby's hat. Send the picture on Twitter. Thank you. Yeah, I can't open it right now, but yeah, I'll check that out, definitely. Those antlers are depicted on a lot of the Norse pagan heathenism type, ritualistic type stuff also, which is why, again, you can't convince me that that was just, whoops, I tripped and fell and here's the sticks and how they landed. And one is on one side of your head and one is on the other side of your head. It just doesn't happen that way. You could hear down the hill, but other people are saying they couldn't hear Gunn and they can't even see him. It was enhanced. That's another thing. That actually scares the crap out of me, okay? Let's just say I happen to go down the street and take a walk by this little retention pond, okay? And then find out 2 days from now that that retention pond had a horrific murder occur, and I would just happen to be there around the time, and they're saying, hey, if anybody has any clues or anybody was around this area, please let us know. And I think to myself, holy shit, I was there then. What would I call in to tell them, hey, I was there? And then let's just say I do, and then let's just say I happen to be picked up on some CCTV somewhere. And let's say they clipped probably about a couple seconds of me attempting to walk or taking one step. And then they get the software while I'm in prison, solitary confinement, no freaking, You cannot turn the lights off in this building or in this room that you're in as a prisoner, which to me, that's cruel and unusual punishment for anybody. Like, I get it if you are convicted, charged, and you have to serve in solitary as an inmate, that is your punishment. But for somebody that hasn't even been through a court case properly or shown to be guilty, it's crazy to me that they could put these people in solitary confinement and they don't turn the lights off at all. I'm like, Jesus Christ, that's like, you can't differentiate between night and day. It's always bright. So that's one of the things I really truly feel like is like torture. So what I was saying was the Elvis guy, Keegan Kline, and his creepo dad, the landowner, so many more need looking into. Right. Well, this video they come out with and claim as evidence of the bridge guy, they looped a couple of seconds of his attempting to walk forward. It's like one step he attempts to take and it loops it. And then the way the Snapchat works, they're saying they had to AI insert the missing pieces to it because, you know, it comes in clips. So like you can screen record a section and then the video stops. You can do another couple of seconds, the video stops, and then another couple of seconds. And then so they had to formulate this to fit together. And they used an AI generator to complete the video. And so I'm like, that's not a real and true copy. Like, you know how in court papers it says a real and true copy of such and such screenshot because, you know, you have to certify it came from where you're claiming it came from. But with this video, it's like they used AI bots to formulate this video and make it completely fit together, right? And so at that point, to me, it becomes not a real and true copy of said evidence. Do you know what I mean? Is it just me? I personally would not want to be... I get he could be guilty. So it's like all of this being said and done, it's like we're proving that he is in fact guilty. But yet, by what? By showing a robot version of a video that may or may not be exactly as it was? I don't know. Good morning, charming Jenna. People keep talking about Bridge Guy having a limp. The video was looped. It only made... Yes. I heard gait. People were saying that he had a gait when he walked. And then they even went as far as to show Richard Allen walking in one video. And I'm like, we don't know anything from this short clip of a video. Odinism is either a premeditated cover or the F on the tree means reset your time in the Odin game. I've always felt killing the girls was a quest in the game, was either his reward or level. You know what? The rumor in the very beginning with the Odinism, there was a rumor, and this is just a rumor. These people are victims. I'm no way, shape, or form blaming anybody or accusing anybody. I believe Abby's mother was said to have been dating interracially, and so the white supremacy paganistic cult allegedly is really against that, and they chose to do an honor killing or something. I don't know. It sounds crazy to say out loud. They're protecting the real perps for some reason. Very interesting. Lights are always on. Does anybody know how Ron Logan passed away? That was a property owner, right? 13 months. Is that true? Yes, he was in solitary confinement for 13 months. Art Taylor, you too. Thank you. Have a blessed day. I looked into the Odin mobile game app as soon as it was mentioned. People saying the killings isn't part of the game, hasn't seen it or played it. Right. If I were the jury, I would be real confused why the state even brought this to trial. Yeah, I mean, it's... Okay, I think I'm caught up. You have a blessed day. Take care. Love and support. Thank you. R. Taylor. Yes. Yes, that was a property owner. Right. So, it's weird that was it a detective that was looking into the Odinism theory and then he was shot in front of the federal building, I think? And I'm like, that's weird. And then suddenly they stopped looking into the Odinism angle. Our defense team started the whole Odinism. See, that is what I understand. His defense team started the whole Odinism thing. But if they hadn't brought up the fact of anything having to be explained for the way that the scene was set up, I don't know what else they could have gone to. Like, as an attorney, I would imagine I suppose Plunder will get the interrogations eventually when they're available. But, as an attorney, if you ask to see your client's proof of why they claim he's guilty, and then you get these scene photos of staged murder scenes, which that's what I believe they are. I mean, you've got to go to Odinism or some type of ritualistic cult-like explanation. I mean, how else would you explain that murder scene? I mean, they did not trip and fall in some tree branches and that's how they landed. I'm sorry. And I think Nancy Grace was the one that seemed to have made it sound that way. And I just can't get behind that because of the way that everything is explained and shown in the drawings. It does not make sense. You would have to go to some type of ritualistic scene. And so the Odinism angle by the defense is reasonable here. Like, I know I'm a conspiracy theorist, so sometimes I go really far with it. But when the attorney that came from Judge Gold's side, which she dismissed the attorneys that he had picked or that he had as public defenders and then appointed him a new one. The new attorney had been on her Facebook page, the judge. So, like, the new attorney was liking the judge's Facebook photos and the judge was commenting on the guy's kids' freaking baseball pictures or something. So, this was an attorney that the judge appointed. When he came up to the public and made a public interview stating that he personally believes Richard is innocent and that he saw such bad things occurring and that he saw that there was Odinist and that they were reprimanded for wearing patches on their uniforms, and then so the next day they came in and the guys had like fresh ink on their face or something, like Odinist symbols they tattooed on their face. I mean, if they didn't bring up Odinism at that point in time, I would be shocked. They would be bad lawyers in my opinion, because what else would you call that? Or else the lawyer's just coming up, just putting himself as the front and center target bullet. Like, I don't understand where else they could have gone with that. Wanda Boring, hey PJ, how are you? I'm doing great. How are you doing this morning, Wanda? Good morning, good morning. Happy trick-or-treat day. Have a good day, everybody. What about way back when they said prison officers or Ellie wearing Odinism symbols on their uniforms? Yeah, that's how it started out. And then they were reprimanded for that, which, how did that even start? Like, at what point do you go to work and decide you're going to put patches under your uniform to symbolize your Norse religion? I just don't, that wouldn't be accepted here in Virginia. This conspiracy might be real as I see it. Yeah, that's the thing. People are quick to say, oh, conspiracy theory this, conspiracy theory that. But ultimately, some conspiracies do become real life. Like, in the 50s, when we had the freaking aliens first come around, people that claimed they were abducted or that they saw aliens, they were considered tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theories, right? And now, today, we've got people in the military stating that they've seen unidentified objects in the sky and that they might be real or that they are real. Shouldn't somebody go back and tell those people from 1950 that, you know, they're owed an apology? I think so. Because, like, if you're calling people, you know, conspiracy theorists, which I believe the government's made that into a bad term, and if you get called that, you're instantly labeled as being crazy and not able to see things realistically. But I've always been one, so I don't, you know, you can judge me for wanting to have my own opinion or wanting to think certain ways, or it is what it is, but I support my tinfoil hat proudly. Me too. They used to call me the female version of Alex Jones back in the day in one of the communities I was in. I think Julie Virgo. Just like Kaylee Goncalves in the Idaho 4, I think Kaylee fought like hell, which could explain her injuries being more severe. Yes, that's the only thing that made sense to me about Kaylee also. But I really didn't even recognize Brian Koberger. Is he being held in a prison also? because that would be another case where another person without a trial is being held basically in the same condition, solitary prison. But I don't know. I think there's a little bit more evidence on Bryan Kohberger because it's, I don't know. They moved him to Boise. Was it in a prison, though? Did he get moved to Boise into a prison? No. Okay. He's in the county jail. Okay, so it's different. It's just different. But, and then there's people that truly believe that Richard Allen was put into the prison because it was more safer for him. And I'm like, I don't see why your little county would not be able to house somebody in a regular jail on solitary confinement. I mean, I don't know. To me, prison is long-term. Also, I know that Kohberger waived his rights to a speedy trial. Did Richard Allen ever formally waive his rights to a speedy trial? Because if not, here we are, how much longer? How much later? It's just weird. And I don't see why he would have to be some master manipulator, this Richard Allen, or master freaking artist of being able to commit whatever it was he committed, if he came to the scene and said, hey guys, I did it, I was here today, and then he didn't get arrested when he told them, hey, I was here today, and then he stuck around, didn't get rid of any of the guns, didn't get rid of anything from that day, like didn't get rid of his clothes, his jacket, none of the stuff that would be used to implicate him. He didn't go trash it, set it on fire. He didn't do nothing with it. And then he stuck around until they captured him because they happened to remember, oh, hey, he filled out this paperwork saying that he was at the scene originally. And then it's like, how do you make sense of that? Richard Allen told you guys he was at the scene. So originally you were okay with that. Just we went past that. Okay, he's here, no big deal, whatever. And then when you decide you don't have nothing else, you're going to go back and, oh, whoopsie, we forgot this part. We're going to arrest him now. But he didn't run or get rid of anything, or it's so weird to me, this whole case. In what world is prison safer, and especially on the charges he's facing? Prisoners don't like child unaliving and other crimes. I mean, the jails don't either. And I think that's why they said they were trying to protect him by putting him into the prison, which it's weird because, you know, in this country, you have the right to a speedy trial. You have the right to innocent until proven guilty. You have the right to defend yourself, and prisons keep child predators separate typically. Yeah, I mean, so should jails. With solitary confinement, you should be able to keep, you know, to be separate. I don't see why they couldn't have kept them separate, but I have this cowlick or something. Sorry, guys. I have this lipstick from last night. I rubbed and rubbed until, like, I thought I was going to have a bloody lip. They knew his prior mental instability and then used it against him. Yes. Innocent until proven guilty. It's almost like it's opposite. It's like we say that it's innocent until proven guilty, but we act in human nature, and we actually act out the opposite of the case. Sending him there was about intimidation. Yeah, it sure seems that way. Because he didn't get arrested until, you know, the investigator said to him basically, well, no, he said, if you don't have anything against me, either let me go home or just arrest me. And he was like, I'll be glad to. So he arrests him and then comes up with all this supposed stuff as that they have for evidence. But it's just, it's weird. The Delphi murder case is just weird. And the fact that the more we are excluded from being able to witness it or see anything about it or being shared, you know, the info of the case, the more that it's secretive the way that it is, the more it makes me feel like there's something to it. There's something going on. So, I don't know. He always wanted to visit the Paradise City. Sending him there was about intimidation. Other prisoners can still get to other inmates. My nephews are correctional officers. Girl, I'm still on the hunt for lip oil. No plumper, no gloss. Just, I always just use my coconut oil. But that's how I make my scent rollers. It's a fragrance oil and a coconut oil mixture. And I actually sometimes do put it on my lips. It depends on what fragrance oil I use. But we don't market a lot for lip. I poured some lip balm here recently and we did those. But I was so scared. I'm still kind of scared because I don't like it when we market and sell stuff that's for... not for consumption, but for possible consumption. Because, you know, sometimes you lick your lips or whatever. I just don't like that liability. And look, it's 7:25. I'm going to have to run again. You guys have been great again this morning. I got to say a lot of what I was thinking and feeling. And it's just like, Judge is literally telling them not to speak into the microphone. Exactly, which is weird. Like, you would want people to hear you, right? That's why I thought that there was confusion based on what Richard Allen had said, whether he saw a van or a man, because people that were in the courtroom were relaying what they heard and they couldn't tell what they heard. So I'm like, how are we supposed to know or get actual facts and information from the case if you're just basically telling the witnesses on stand, shh, don't talk so loud? It's weird, right? It's just weird that we're having this type of secrecy in this day and age over a public trial that should be... I mean, if he did it, he should be lynched at the public square. Do you see what I mean? It shouldn't be some secret hush-hush, let's keep this under wraps type of court case, period. It's just, it's not how that works. But we will have so much more to discuss in this case. Yeah, I am too. I'm keeping up with so many different updates. All right, 6 minutes. I gotta go. And you guys, thanks so much for being here with us, with me, not us. There's just me, not us. There's nobody else here. Have a good rest of your day, you guys. Bicycle.